It's an Australian invasion. I battle John Paul Fuller Jackson of Caffeinated Warlord as he visits Singapore. It's a live battle with miniatures. Stay tuned.
Hello there! I like to watch battle reports to get better at games. So I started making short, summarized battle reports that focus on learning points. So welcome to my channel, Newbie Dice. Do like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you enjoy my videos. Do consider speeding up this video with the YouTube settings to consume this content or other YouTube content in a fraction of the time.
Alright, so what happened is JP has a work event in Singapore, so he extended his trip an extra day for some sightseeing and of course to play some Kings of War battles. So we played 2 games, one against me and he played against another local Singapore player, which I think he will feature in his channel Caffeinated Warlord to come. So that's a YouTube channel. I'll link it in the description and probably on the top right if I can't, so you can check out his channel too. So what happened was he designed a Trident Realm list, I think partially inspired by the US Masters winning with Trident Realm. So he also tried the Trident Realm list. So he came out with a list, sent the list over to me, and we as a local community prepared the miniatures for him to do battle with. So this is a picture of me and him, the only picture we took together because I brought him out to see some sites in Singapore, and he is also practicing Chinese martial arts. So he googled a martial arts store, equipment store, and I sort of just brought him over there based on the address. So I thought it was quite funny because I don't do martial arts as an Asian, but he's doing martial arts, Chinese martial arts that is. So on to the list. So because of some of the models that were lending him, so I can't play my Salamanders list, so I went back to the list that I can field, which is my usual Order of the Green Lady list. So I know it's really very popular right now, especially, I don't know if it's especially since it did very well at Masters as well, with Marcelo piloting a very hard-hitting 5 hammers list. But I've been playing Green Lady for almost the whole of 3rd edition. You can check out the timestamps of my battle reports since I started playing Green Lady, and it has evolved. And it's quite different from Marcelo. Marcelo is a bit more in the face, direct punch with 3 hordes of Forsaken and 2 regiments of Redemption Knights. So mine is a regiment and horde of Earth Elementals that gives it some staying power, especially when I've healed in this list. Okay, this is a Order of the Brotherhood. I like to call them vanilla knights, right? But with Pathfinder for only 15 points because of the Banner of the Green Lady. I like this unit a lot because oftentimes it's the first hammer I send into trouble, right? It will kill something, but it will be in a vulnerable position, but it forces the opponent's hammers to commit, so it starts the trade, the peace trading going. So the cheapest hammer that the cheaper the hammer that I can send in, the better. So this is the cheap at 210 points. Order of the Redemption, 250 points. I find that whenever I run one of it, they are often tasked to do defensive duty, and so sometimes if I roll well, I survive, right? If the opponent roll well, they just die. Okay, if I roll very poorly on the regeneration, it might be quite disappointing also. So running 1, I have mixed feelings about this list. Marcelo did run 2, which I think might help solve the problem of, putting too much hope and faith in one unit of redemption. So I ran 2 Order of the Forsaken, one with Boots of Striding and one with Pipes of Terror because it's my last 10 points. Giving it Brutal, I thought that Brutal is pretty much 1 auto damage, right, in terms of rolling for nerf, so that's pretty good. But take note that my Earth Elementals have Brutal as well, so sometimes they overlap. Okay, so one of the main difference of my list is that I run 2 Beasts of Nature with wings and 7 attacks. So they are really there to get flanks, get into difficult but troublesome positions for the enemy. And 2 Pegasus, a Druid with heal, Bane Chance Surge because I have Earth Elementals, and it's really handy that the Surge only casts 10 points because I often do not cast Surge in the game. Maybe a turn 1 Surge, but that's about it. But I usually don't cast much Surge in the game. But it's there so that the opponent can't land, can't move past and land very near my Earth Elementals. So it's just there as a deterrent. Okay, so 10 points is really worth it for it. And Conjurer Staff makes all these low dice spells a little bit more reliable. Avatar of the Green Lady for that healing goodness. And of course, it has, what's this special rule called? But it basically can have Radiance of Life or Cloak of Death. You choose at the start of every turn. Okay, and a Unicorn with Talk of Dissonance. It shuts down spells. I think I forgot to use this the whole game. It's a one-time you stop a spellcaster from casting a spell within 12 inches for 1 turn. Okay, Lightning Bolt 5. So with that, I ran it, apologies, now I realize I ran it as Blade of Slashing. So I have an extra 5 points remaining. I totally forgot that I tried Talk of Dissonance in this list, so I played it as Blade of Slashing. Alright, so this list has only 10 scoring drops in a 2300 points list because I have 3 individuals. Okay, but yep, 10, and of that 2 of them are really cheap Pegasus. Alright, so on to JP's Trident Realm. Okay, let's see, Horde of Ensnarers, 2 Placoderms, which will be troublesome for me, right? Defense 6 and Phalanx is not something I'd like to see as a flying cavalry kind of army. And one of them has Staying Stone, Gigas, defense 6 from the front too. 2 Greater Water Elementals, which were, I think you can consider them a bit disappointing in this game, but we'll see how it goes. 1 Knucker, Coral Giant with, I can't remember, but I assume it was Slayer. 2 Aquamage with Rising Tides is a Wild Charge +1 Aura, and Buckskin comes with the default Icy Breath. 2 Depth Horror Eternals and Deformation. Oh, I cropped off Inisha, but he has Host Shadow Beast 2 on top of whatever. I don't think he has other spells. Okay, so with that, 14 drops, 12 of them score unit strength wise, higher than me as well. So let's get into the game, but before that, let's me shout out my local game store.
If you're from the Asia Pacific region, do consider checking out Hammer House website for your hobby needs. They carry a wide range of miniatures and hobby supplies, including Mantic, Vallejo, Scale 75, and Green Stuff World products.
Alright, so we are playing Raise. This is the deployment, and we're playing with the withdrawal rules. Okay, I won sides. I'm not sure. I think that maybe the other side could be better for me, but my stuff already here, so I decided to take here and take the chance with this side. Okay, why I thought that the other side might be better is because of this blocking terrain. Okay, this piece over here. Okay, so let me label the terrain. Okay, so this piece over here. So with this piece, right, as you can see, he can concentrate his force here, and with some smart positioning of his units with the terrain, right, he could block me from charging flanks, for example. So it's very hard for me to flank him. So for example, if a unit was, let's rewind. So for example, if a unit was here and my stuff is here, I can't charge the flank because I can't fit, right? So these are the things that he could play. And true enough, he put most of his forces within this window so he can condense and protect his flanks somewhat. One thing I thought he could have done was to put the knuckle back here. Okay, so I can't charge the knuckle in the front, and he's seeing past. Yeah, and then if I try to go around the building, he will be able to see me and charge me. Okay, so what's a little bit more interesting is that the token placement. So I placed the last token. That means he placed a token first. So he placed a token over here, which I thought was a bit interesting because there's a central token, right? And all these tokens needs to be about 12 inches from each other. So if you just eyeball it, right, somewhere here, you might not be able to place a token here. So if you put this, so let me split the line, right? So if you please put the token too close to the center of this area, right, then you can't fit a token here and you can't fit a token here, because you need a 3-inch spacing from the edge of the board, and then it needs to be 12 inch apart. Yeah, so I don't know the exact math, but I think it could prevent a placement of the token here. Okay, so be careful not to put the raise token on the 1/4 line. I would say too close to the 1/4 line. Okay, so once he placed here, then it's like, I'm not sure if you could place another token on this half of the board, because in raise are because of the spacing, you always can only put 2 tokens on one half and 1 token on the other half. Okay, so I started placing. I can't remember how I placed, really. I think I placed on the hill first, and then he has to place one here. Then I placed one in the corner, and then I placed the last one here, which I also don't remember why. I'm sure I put it here. If of course this is before deployment, right? So I'm not sure where he's gonna go. So I placed it here. He placed it 2 on this side. Okay, and he did surprise me that he didn't, because there's 2 here, right? But he didn't place very heavily here. So I guess he's going defensive by trying to defend these 2 tokens, which all in all is not a bad strategy as well. But if you're going to just defend the 2 tokens and win 1, then you have to also concentrate on the center, right? So that you can at least win 2 tokens. Okay, so nonetheless, this is how we deployed. I labeled all the units, as you can see. Okay, so one thing I really wanted to do, Piece of Nature is going to, Piece of Nature is going to burn this token and then do a roundabout over here. Okay, I also want my unit of Forsaken to go here and here behind the building. Okay, because if I stay in front of the building, he could place stuff here and then the things behind, then I can't charge, right? So with that in mind, that's why I placed the Forsaken here to be on this lane to go through. Okay, and other than that, my deployment is very typical. 1 beast on each side. Okay, so even though he's very heavily deployed on here, right? I don't want to put 2 beasts here, because if I place 1 beast here, right, it makes him need to compact his line so that I don't have a chance to jump over, right? So he has to be aware of that, and the way he shuffles forwards will be affected, right? So that's why I like to have 1 beast on each side. It forces the enemy to advance very cautiously as well. Okay, so that's probably why the Gigas is over here. He has to do backfield protection. Alright. So other than that, around the 1/3 line is where I usually put the Forsaken. Okay, so you can see the Forsaken is here, while the Redemption is outside. So usually it's the other way around. But why I put it this way is because I want to spread the Redemptions inspiring to these 2 units out here. Okay, and then if not, it's usually Piece of Nature on the outermost, and then Forsaken on the 1/3 line, and then the 2 cavalry inside of it, and then my Earth Elemental Horde in the center, and then the other Earth Elemental Regiment probably near center here. But of course, based on the terrain setup, that changes quite a bit as well. So these are shots from JP's camera, which is better than mine, I must admit. Right, so we have some proxies. So yeah, I'm using the Ceremonial Guard as Placoderm, and these are Scarecrows, which we are using as tools. If not, most of them are sort of WYSIWYG. Well, Depth Horror, Gigas, so on and so forth. This is a vanilla giant that we're using as Coral Giant. Okay, just some more shots of the army before we start. That's my Redemption Knight unit that I'm very proud of, Forsaken. It's a fully Mantic army, so I pluck models from across the entire Mantic range. Okay, if you like to see more of my army, I will post a link to a video of my armies on the top right. Beast of Nature using Frostfang. Okay, Earth Elementals using Obsidian. These are Harlequins, Harlequins I'm using as Order of the Brotherhood. Forsaken Knights. These are my Corsair Ceremonial Guard that's being used as Placoderms. My Water Elemental actually, Greater. Yeah, Giant. This was commission painted from Guard. Alright, top of 1, here we go. So pushed everything up, right, but staying out of his threat range and taking note that he has a wild charge +1 aura. Okay, I think that model is here. Okay, but he can run 12 and spread another 6, so he can really go quite a lot of places. So I have to take care to stay 1 extra inch away from the enemies. So poised up aggressively, because that's what I like to do, especially on this side. So he's quite defensive on this side, right? Placoderms, Ensnarers with a wall here as well. Okay. Placoderms here with the Giant to protect. Greater Water, Gigas, a lot of things on the right side, which I don't think I can punch through easily. Okay, another thing was that I placed these two almost exactly 12 inch apart. And when you do that, an infantry horde, right, is able to infantry, large infantry, cavalry horde, large infantry legions, those that's very wide, is able to straddle both tokens, using 1 unit to protect both tokens. Okay. But nonetheless, I pushed up aggressively because I'm faster than him. He's fast, but I'm faster. Okay, so with that, it forces him to advance very cautiously and stay back. That's the thing, right? He can absorb charges, but only if there's no flank. So with this, Beast of Nature is also looking down the flank, so that forces the opponent to advance the block as 1 line so that it doesn't expose the flank of the Ensnarers, for example. Okay, so then they're limited by the advancement of the Ensnarers because there's a obstacle over here. So most likely he'll create his line down here. Okay. So with my Forsaken, I started behind the Earth Elemental, so I moved the full 20. So I'm thinking, okay, because I need to move the full 20 plus another 10 and turn, then I can clear the house. If not, I will be like staring into the house. Then I can't charge anything the next turn. So if I don't move the full 20. Okay, but what I didn't... So I was thinking, okay, the Knuckle charges up to 19 inches, if I'm not wrong. If I included the 1 inch from that wild charge aura. 18 without. So I was thinking, okay, if you charge this, I'm fine with it, right? Then I can easily take it out. Okay. And so I also kept, if you charge the stuff here, I also don't mind. Okay, and then my lightning bolt shot into the Knuckle. And because I don't want to be charged by the Knuckle, I stayed out of 18 or 19 inches from it. Okay, the Beast of Nature flew up onto about 3 inches away from the token, but taking note that turn 1 I can't burn tokens, only turn 2. Okay, so you will have to stay there for 1 more round. Okay, so if you see this line over here, this is the first mistake I made. So actually the Water Elemental has is able to see and charge the Dracon Riders, not the Dracon Riders, these I'm using as Forsaken in the flank. So that's spells trouble for me, and it was just within range, so that's terrible, right? So first mistake I made. Okay. Alright, lightning bolt into the Knuckle, 2 damage. Okay, so he double charges, 1 from the front, 1 from the flank. So I'm like, oh dear, and because my Unicorn was trying to stay away from the Knuckles charge, it is outside of 6 inch, so it's not even inspired. So that's terrible off the gate. Okay, but it's not the end of the world even if he kills this, because I still have a lot of units heavily on this side. So I am confident that I can still win this side even if I just lost that horde. Alright, average damage, it should do 2.7, which is rounded to 3 damage over here, 6 damage for 9 damage in total. So even on average damage, he needs an 8 once. So that gives an indication there is a less than 50% chance to get a rout result. Of course, it could waver, and then I still have Headstrong. Okay, so as expected, he did form his line here with a bit of curve this way. Okay, and then he made sure that my piece of nature couldn't fly 20 and land anywhere here, so I can't get over his lines. Alright, so what else? So let's rewind and see how the tools moved up. So they were here and here. So one went this way and one went that way. Alright, so the front arc is over here. So that presented me with some options. So let's see what I do next. So he only dealt 5 damage to my Forsaken and did not even waver it. So poor rolling off the gate, out of the gate. I gave him 2 sets of dice. So he was rolling this Chessex yellowish warp glow kind of dice, which has been performing poorly for him the whole game. Till the very end, he switched over to the other set of dice that I passed him, and it rolled much better. So maybe it's the dice, maybe I cursed it. Alright, so top of 2. Having survived the charge, the double charge. So what I did was, the water elemental was in the rear. It's a rear charge for the Brotherhood Knight. So I think 1 rear charge should do it. Okay. So while the Forsaken, if they were to charge the Knuckle, it's and snap from the front, but the Beast of Nature is in the flank, so I'm very confident a front and the flank would kill it off. So I would be able to kill these 2 units, but the Beast of Nature would have to get off that token. So with that, I looked at my units. Alright, I was like, okay, Earth Elemental Regiment, you're gonna spend your whole game walking 5 inches and 5 inches and 5 inches until you burn that token. So I've dedicated this Earth Elemental Regiment over there. Okay, with that, with these 2 units at least locked down, these 2 tokens is safe from being burned. So I only have this to worry about and to hold the center at the very end. Okay, so this is a shot of all the units going in. So it might feel a little bit weird because it's taken from JP's angle. Then I turn the picture upside down. So Brotherhood in the rear, double charge over here, and the Knuckle already took 2 damage from Lightning Bolt, right? Okay, so what else I did? So these 2 units died, so I reformed. Okay, and then I saw an opportunity over here. So first turn, my Pegasus went into the forest so that he can see lots of stuff. Okay, and the thing about his army is there's no shooting at all. So that was why I could even deploy my stuff, my fragile things on the front line, because I wasn't afraid of any shooting. So you just rewind back to deployment. Whoop, that's a lot of rewinding. Oh. So you can see that the Pegasus is on the front line. Usually I keep the Pegasus quite far back behind forests or units. The individuals are on the front line as well. Okay, so let's move on. Ooh. Apologies. Okay. So I noticed based on the angle that it places units, I could charge the Pegasus into the Depth Horror Eternal. Okay, and with that, and this window, okay, the tools, they're not nimble. Oops. So they can't get past this building basically. So you pivot once, you go this way, you need a second pivot to come out of the building basically. So just by charging the Depth Horror Eternal, I locked down the tools from charging outwards. And what's worse, I think I'll front out of these 2 units. Okay, while I have quite a strong force staring down here. Okay, the Earth Elemental Horde picked into the forest, and whatever steps into the forest, I'm definitely able to charge. because this is more than 10. This is less than 10 inches. Okay. What happened on the right is I backed up all my stuff. Okay. So I had my two flyers, the Pegasus and the Beast of Nature, right? The Pegasus just did a double turn and moved back 10 inches. Okay, I don't want to double turn my Piece of Nature because that will bring it out of the game for a while. So what I did was I backed up 5 inches. Okay, these units backed up 5. So I also pre-measured that when I back up 5, the forest will be sticking out in front of me in case it matters if something without Pathfinder charges. Okay, and the Redemption Knights also backed up 4 inches because it's cavalry. Okay, so one mistake I made was that the Beast of Nature, I think it was angled this way. So what I did was I pivoted it this way and then back like this. Okay, why I wanted to do that? Because I needed it to be within 6 inches of the Redemption Knights for inspiring. Okay, so let's see if I could have done it differently. Perhaps I couldn't. Maybe I could have sidestepped instead. Yeah, I think I could have sidestepped instead. So I just angled it this way and then sidestep 5 inches. I think that would have been better because based on the angle like this, right? If the water elemental, greater water elemental could charge the beast, okay, 14 inches, no problem. And then it would align here. And the biggest problem is that the Redemption Knights will be in the front arc, so I'll be charging in front. But if I have moved my Piece of Nature this way and sidestep, right, then if he were to charge the water elemental, then this was an easy flank. Because my Redemption Knight don't have Pathfinder, so this will be a hindered charge, losing 1 TC and 1 to hit, right? So that's the trouble of it. So why no Pathfinder, but I'm putting in the forest? Because I am playing defensive over on this side, right? I already knew that, okay, I'm going to punch through the left, which I'm currently doing, right? And then the right side is just going to hold because these forces I don't think I can get through, right? With the wall and snare and the defense 6 phalanx and whatnot, I don't think I can punch through. So it moved up to threaten and then it pulled all the way back. And most of its forces are out of range to charge except for this one. Okay. So turn 2 bottom. So as you can see, it charged in. Alright. So what else? The Placoderms shuffled a little bit forwards. Okay, I think it was trying to angle. Can't remember what it was trying to angle to do. Okay, one thing that I did find surprising now that I'm looking back at it was that the Depth Horror counter charged alone. The 2 could easily have a double charge with the Depth Horror. Okay, and then with just 1 Depth Horror charging, I don't know how many attacks it had, but it just wavered the Pegasus. Okay, it is 10-12 nerf with defense 4, so I think a Depth Horror with a few attacks is not a guaranteed kill. So nonetheless, and that's what happened, right? Just a waver. Okay, and then he began to push more stuff upwards. Okay, so the Naiads have to cross over the wall and things shuffled forward. So with the beast pinned down, he can move his things up safely. Alright, so yeah, water elemental versus the Beast of Nature. Yeah, what's this shot? I think this is the shot of the charge. Alright, so top of 3. So my turn. Earth elemental continue to shuffle towards that token. Okay, so over here, this is the interesting one. Okay, with the Pegasus wavered, right? And we're playing with withdraw, so it could back up 6 inches. Okay, this is important because 6 inches times 2.54 centimeters, it's more than 150 mils. That's what is important. Okay, so by backing up 6 inches, it allowed the Forsaken to flank charge the Placoderms. Okay, so if I rewind, over here. So this one backed up 6 inches, creating a window for the Forsaken Knights to charge in. Okay, and then together with the what's this called, the Earth Elementals in the front. Okay, and I'm not sure if this could have charged instead. So if this could have charged instead, maybe it would have been an easier, better charge. Okay, because I clipped the forest, so I lose -1 to hit and -1 TC, right? Okay, whereas this one is 16 attacks, but it doesn't lose any of that in the flank. But I have this bad habit of not calculating damage against defense 6 well. So I did get the Bane Chant off, and then only after that, when I start rolling, did I realize that, wow, even in the flank, it's not that easy a kill against defense 6, because I am 18 hits, and with the Bane Chant, 9 wounds. If I failed the Bane Chant, I would only have dealt 6 wounds. Right, and then the Earth Elementals is 9 hits and only 3 wounds. Okay, so I'm only dealing 12 with a brutal 13, which brings it to boxcars, but like I thought I would have, the average damage is way higher than that. But luckily, I managed to take it out, and I think even my Green Lady added 1 extra damage with Cloak of Death. It went Cloak of Death over here, and it started to heal is slowly healing the wounds of the Forsaken Knights. Okay. And what else was that the Depth Horror was flank charged by the Beast of Nature, and the Beast of Nature took it out. I think it suffered prior 1 or 2 damage from the Pegasus charging, and then now a flank from the Beast of Nature took it out. Okay, and then it reformed to face these tools in the front. Okay, so the tools can only charge the Beast of Nature, is protecting the flank of the Forsaken Knights, while these Unicorn torpedoed into the other tool to block it. Okay, of course it's an individual, so if it kills the Unicorn, it could overrun in. Okay, but the tools only have a TC. I think it's an aura from the spellcaster in the formation, but nonetheless, it took some damage from, I think 1 damage exactly from the Unicorn, and so with that, right, it couldn't. It lost its TC. So even 20 attacks hitting on trees, right? I think that's 13 hits, and wounding on 5. That's only 4 to 5 wounds, right? So on a 12-14, that's a 9 twice to kill. So not an easy kill. Okay. So with that, Placoderms out of the way, and the 2 tools controlled, I face more towards this side, while of course the Knights are facing, getting ready to charge the tools. Okay, and this Pegasus, right, it got wavered, right, so it backed up. He has no shooting to finish it off. Actually, he does have Icy Breath, but it's behind too many things. I don't think he can see. And then is ready to chaff things up if need be. One of the tools while I kill the other. Alright. So over on the right, I double charge the Water Elemental in return, but because it's a front and I'm hindered, I don't take out the Water Elemental. Okay, I don't think I'm expected to, so that's 10 hits, 5 wounds. And this is about 3 wounds, so 8 wounds on a dash 18, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so the Pegasus that turned twice the previous turn and went back 10 inches, now turned twice again to go up 10 inches. Its main duty was to protect the flank of this Redemption Knight, so these things can't charge it in the flank. Okay, the Forsaken Knights just slide sideways to be contesting the token 3 inches. Okay, so he has, and this is within 3, so I have 7 unit strength currently. Pegasus expected to die, so I easily still have 6 unit strength contesting the token. Okay, and it's out of charge range of the Naiads. Okay, so only the Giant can charge if it wants to. So bottom of 3, let's see the action over here. So the Placoderms charge the Knights, the Water Elemental countercharged the beast, and the Gigas was in range to charge the Pegasus, and oh dear, he only wavered the Pegasus. That was quite sad. Yeah, because he should take 8 or more hits with Elite, right? And then 7 of them would wound easily. Okay, but once again, rolled pretty poor. And then the Giant charged into the Order of the Forsaken, while the Naiads turned around to face the oncoming onslaught. There's a Depth Horror Eternal here as well. Okay, so he countercharged both of these units. Luckily, what happened is because of the angle of these two versus these two, right? Okay, if it only killed this Unicorn and overran, it would hit his other 2 unit. So he would have to kill the Beast of Nature and sidestep this unit first. And it's very unlikely to kill the Beast of Nature, even though they have their TC. Because there's easily 13 hits, right? Wounding on 4, that's also 7 wounds. At the most, right? Okay. So that's also not expected. Okay, so he doesn't kill both. I see a red token over here, so I think the Unicorn is wavered. Okay, anything else to note? So next turn. Let's start from over here. So these 2 units just countercharge respectively. But now my Beast of Nature is alone against the Water Elemental. So it's expected to lose because Water Elemental has regen 4+ and a higher nerf, so eventually my Beast of Nature is gonna lose. The Redemption Knights just charge back into Placoderms, cause why not? Okay, nothing else to do. Okay, and what happened over here? The Pegasus just stayed there. Why not? Okay, and then over here, what happened was after he charged his Giant, these Earth Elementals can actually see it, and it's within 10 inches. Within 10. Okay. So I just charged it in, I can't remember, it's the rear or I think it's the rear. Yeah, based on the angle of my unit. So it's the rear. So 1 rear charge from the Earth Elementals and a front charge from the Forsaken killed it off. Okay, the Pegasus that got wavered the last round, it flew forward to block the Naiads, basically. I don't want the Naiads to come into the combat. Okay, and then these 2 units counter charge. What did my what did they not do anything? Yeah, I think it was not in the right place, so it just rotated. Okay, so these 2 units continue to punch in. And let's see. Bottom of 4. So he charged 1, 2. Okay, so over here, the Unicorn was wavered from his charge, right? So the Unicorn is not mighty, so all he does is just charge through into the Forsaken Knights. So I think I was just bracing for impact at this point, and I just casted all my heals, and I even did Radiance of Life, so I healed it back to full health. Yep, you don't see a wound down over here. Okay, so it survived this charge. Okay, and the Beast of Nature still survived the charge as well. And what else? Yep, this one took out the Pegasus. The Naiads flanked the other Pegasus and took it out. Okay, now it's facing in this direction. So, top of 5. By then, my Earth Elementals has burnt this token. Top of 5. Let's see. Tools got charged by this. Yeah, Tools I think got charged by the Knights, and then the Depth Horror got charged by the Forsaken, and then the other 2 got finished off by the Beast of Nature with the Unicorn, and I probably did Cloak of Death to add 1 extra damage in. Okay, and then once again heal 6 on this unit over here, And so this Forsaken Knights charge into the Naiads to hold it up, and then this Earth Elementals charge into the Gigas to hold it up. Okay, and I failed the Headstrong. I think he rolled luck. He spiked the nerf roll, and I got wavered, and I failed the Headstrong. But I was like, he's just there to stay alive, so I'll just stay there. Did regen a little bit of wounds. Always below average as usual. Always a bit salty of my regen rolls of the Redemption Knights. Okay, so bottom of 5, he finally killed off the Beast of Nature and turned to face. So I think he's facing forwards. I think he's... can't be sure. Alright, but I was afraid of this getting into my flank eventually, right? Okay, these two things charged back. Alright. This thing charged back. This thing charged back. And wavered the... a lot of waivers, so he wavered the Forsaken Knights again. Let's rewind. So what I did, I don't remember if I rolled and failed the waiver roll, the Headstrong roll, but maybe I did. So I just backed this up to be within the center token. And then I just flank charged the Depth Horrors, right? And then the Naiads were taken out over 2 charges from the Forsaken Knights. Not unreasonable. So even with Ensnare, I'm at least hitting 9 times. And I'm wounding 7.5. Okay, 2 rounds of that is 15 with 2 rounds of Cloak of Death. Yep, so 17 at least. And on top of that, I actually charged more stuff in. So I think this could have fit somewhere. But the Unicorn definitely went in as well. Okay, so with that, I took out this. We're at the top of 6. So at this point, I just backed up my units. Okay, so that the greater water will only fit in the front. So I won't get flanked by it. Okay, so while contesting this token somewhere around here. Okay, so I have 6 unit strength, right? 3 and 3. He has 3 and 3 here. And there's a no charge that he could get this water elemental, greater water elemental within 3 inches of the token. Because if we were to charge this unit, he'll be out here. Okay, and he's in the flank of the Earth Elementals, and I've aligned it in the straight line, so he can't charge the flank as well. So he can't get within 3 inches of the token. Okay, I can't remember where the token is. Oh, there it is, somewhere around here. Okay, so, and it's not nimble, right? So it couldn't just, scoot behind the Gigas after the Gigas charge. So with that, we called the game there. And yeah, so we didn't play the bottom of 6. Alright, so there are some extra shots of the game. This is somewhere in the middle, right? Oh, didn't have that shot where everything charged in, huh? So yeah, okay, so what happened is, I think this, because this unit withdraw, then there's space over here for the Beast of Nature to charge in this corner, front corner, and then the Unicorn in the back. But then it got hindered by the wall. But yeah, that's expected to kill for sure. Alright, so let's look at some learning points. So raise tokens, right? Place just out of the center circle near the table edge so that you can keep the option of your third token. You can place it on either half. So that was something that I was talking about earlier. Okay, if the opponent has the very wide hordes, right, don't put the tokens exactly 12 inches apart because they can contest both tokens with one horde. Okay, so watch out for flanks from fast units, yep. And so for my pincer strategy, right, so what's the pincer strategy? So I advance on both sides and then I threaten from the flank very aggressively, so it looks like pincers. Okay, I just need to win one of the pincers. I don't need to win both. So once I know that I'm winning on the left, the right side can chill and hold back. Alright, because Kings of War is quite balanced in the unit such that if I win the left, that means he's heavily guarded on the right, right? So that's why So careful to have multiple units blocked by Chef. My Pegasus charged that one Depth Horror Eternal, and then it also blocked up the 2 behind. Yeah, so a few of the units I did not charge back because I just needed to survive, just disengage and back up. Okay, so I put the flanking enemy into my front arc, the Water Elemental, by backing up my Redemption Knights. Alright, with that, yeah, focus on scenario and win for the scenario win and just what's strictly needed to win. Okay, because that being said, right, my strategy, even if all else fails and this whole part collapse, was to burn 1 token here, 1 token over here, and hold the center. And then I can, if I lost this whole side, I can still definitely win the center by keeping my units like this and keeping the rest of his units out. Okay, and that's a 2 victory points. While he's on this side, right, he can at most burn 1 token over here. Alright? So that was my tactic, even from the start. Alright, so with that, I think that's the end. I'd like to shout out to my patrons: 1 Peep Anonymous, 2 Peep Luke Schaefer, 4 Peep Alessandro Serpe. So thank you to my patrons, and if you like what I'm doing in bringing sort of educational videos to help people with playing Kings of War, especially for players who don't get to play that often. So if you like my cause, do consider supporting me on Patreon. Okay, if you like what you saw, watch another battle report video, see what else you can learn, right? Okay, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, leave a comment on what you think of this game. Do you like the models? What do you think could have been done better, or even from the list construction side? Okay, what I do notice in JP's list is that there's not a lot of punch, which he also realized. Okay, the thing about Water Elementals is 9 attacks but hitting on 4, so yeah, and crushing 2. So not a lot of hard hitting things in his list other than the giant, and even that is quite skewy, right? Because you roll 2d6 even with Slayer, and that skews your attacks quite a bit. Okay, I also have a Newbie Dice podcast, so if you'd like to listen to podcasts, search out Newbie Dice podcast on Spotify, iTunes, or your favorite podcast playing app. Okay, and if you like the podcast, do leave a review. I think it helps the algorithm a little bit. And this is the Patreon link if you'd like to support me on Patreon. And that's it, our Australian Invasion Paige versus JP Battle Report, Green Lady versus Trident Realm. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.